Hello everyone, very good evening. Welcome to Oliveboard. My name is Varsha Ma'am and this is your, as usual, Agriculture and Rural Development Current Affairs session. So here we have to discuss the current affair events related to agriculture and rural development for the week that start from 23rd of August till 29th of August 2025, right? So the aspirants who are in the class, please let me know that everything is fine and how's your preparations going on. And there are so many important updates that are very important for your examination point of view that we have to cover in this particular session. So everyone who are attending this session, you have to be in the session till the last slide because you will be able to know about like what type of questions can also be formed from this topic, the topics that we are going to discuss today. Okay. So let's start our today's discussion. Okay, so let's continue further. Just give me a minute and here we go. First thing aspirants you can do, you can install the application of Oliveboard and so that you will get the access of all the free notes and PDFs available on the application of Oliveboard. And as well as there's a batch available for a better preparation of NABARD Grade A examination. You can be the part of this batch and that's how you can start your preparations with us. Okay, so let's continue now. Let's talk about what are the important events that happened in the last week. See, we know that, for example, if we talk about the humans, so there are so many diseases in humans like the anemia, deficiency of iron, and there are so many other disease and health issues where you need blood transfusion. Similarly, the like life-threatening diseases occurs in animals as well, okay, and for which they might need blood transfusion, and that's why India has taken a step ahead in this direction, okay, so that there will be proper blood banks and proper animal blood transfusion procedures can occur, okay. So we'll talk about this we'll talk about the points covered under these guidelines, and we will also talk about the importance of this report or importance of this guideline or importance of blood transfusion, okay. So, very good evening, Shripad. Very good evening to you. So, we'll talk about all these things in this session. Yeah. So, India releases its first ever national guidelines, SOPs for animal blood transfusions and blood banks, and what will be covered under this, and which particular ministry is related with the release of these guidelines. So it is released by Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, which comes under Ministry of Fishery, Animal Husbandry and Dairy, right? And what's the title of this guideline? Guidelines and standard operating procedures, like how this animal blood transfusion need to be occurred and where the blood banks to be established, what are the important points to be considered while establishing these blood banks for animals in India. Okay, now what is blood transfusion? Basically, we know about now, like if I am suffering from any such kind of disease and I'm observing my hemoglobin level is quite less, so I need a blood transfusion. And for the treatment of certain disease also, we need a blood transfusion, but it is not occurring like that, like having the blood units available in the hospital and they will be transfused directly. No. Firstly, it need to be checked with the RH factor, blood group, compatibility of the blood with the individual to which the blood is about to transfuse, then only the transfusion will occur. And similar procedure has to be followed for animals also. Okay, similar procedure have to be followed for animals also. That's why these guidelines are released so that the veterinary hospitals and all the care centers where there is a need of the blood transfusion, they will run as per the procedure established by, as per the procedure discussed by uh, this Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy. Okay, so blood transfusion is globally recognized as a life-saving intervention. We know that there are so many diseases where blood transfusion is needed for managing the traumas, for severe anemia situation, for surgical blood loss, infectious disease, and coagulation disorders in animals. Okay, so we know that blood transfusion is very important, globally recognized phenomena. Okay, now, but in India, till today, till 25th of August 2025, we were not having a comprehensive national framework for veterinary transfusion medicine. We were not following any pattern for blood transfusion, basically for animals, for veterinary blood transfusion medicine. We were not following specific guidelines, so that's why these guidelines were released. Okay, under this, because like most of the blood transfusions in the animals were performed in emergencies, and in emergencies that situations occurs in the animal, the blood transfusions were performed, but they were not following any standardized donor screening, blood typing, or storage protocol. It was so random, it was not going as per any protocol, which is not good for the animal population as well, right? So these guidelines or standard operating procedures, so that's why there was a need arise that there should be some standard operating procedure or there should be some guideline so that the gap will be filled. The gap between the blood transfusion, what the animal needed, and the scientific and the logical means of blood transfusion. Okay, everything will be streamlined, okay, by providing a scientific, ethical, and structured framework for donor selection, from where the blood to be collected, blood collection, how the blood to be collected, component processing, storage, transfusion procedures, monitoring, and safety safeguards in animal. Okay, so that's why these procedures, these standard operating procedures comes into the picture, right? Now, developed after it's not like that these guidelines like Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy, they come up with these guidelines and everyone have to follow it, that's it. No, these guidelines are prepared by consulting all the blood transfusion procedures with the Veterinary Council of India, VCI, veterinary universities, ICAR institutes, state governments, practicing veterinarians and experts, and the document also align India's practice with global best standards. Now, these guidelines are important because you might have the question related to this, because it is like from the last 2 or 3 weeks we are covering a lot of important news from the animal husbandry sector. Okay, so these news are very important for you guys. Okay, now what are the key highlights of these guidelines and standard operating procedures include? First thing is the establishment of state regulated veterinary blood banks with biosafety compliant infrastructure. So first thing that is needed, okay, for the establishment of any blood bank or any center where the blood transfusion procedures will occur, they should be state regulated. Okay, they should be state regulated, like in which particular state you are establishing them, the state government will regulate them. Okay, and it's not like any like random blood transfusion will occur. No, they have to be follow the biosafety compliant infrastructure. Okay, next is mandatory blood typing. So before transfusion of any blood to any animal, proper compatibility should be checked, proper blood type should be checked, and there should be specific measures to be taken so that cross matching will not occur. Incompatibility reactions will not occur in the animals to which you are transfusing the blood. Okay, and the animal from which you are accepting or you are collecting the blood for transfusion, firstly the health measures or the health parameters of the animal should be checked, like is it properly vaccinated, is it, what's the age of the animal, what's the weight of the animal, and disease screening norms. Every single eligibility criteria should be checked before collecting the milk from before collecting the blood from any animal. Okay, next is, yeah, voluntary, non-remunerated donations and informed consent with a donor rights charter. Okay, so from where you are collecting the bulk, non-remuneration donation. What do you mean by non-remuneration donation? Like you will not be get any remuneration or any money for the blood that you are donating. It will be on voluntary basis. Okay, and it will be on the consent of donor rights charter. Like if we are talking about the domesticated animals, so the owner of the animal, he will fill that consent form, and after that only the blood will be collected. Okay, another points. Yeah, integration of One Health principles to manage zoonotic risk. Zoonotic risk basically the disease which are spreading from animals to animals or from animals to human. Okay, that's why all the specific measures to be taken in this direction. Standard operating procedures, forms, and checklist for donor registration, transfusion monitoring, and adverse reaction reporting. If in case you had cross-checked all the eligibility criteria, you had cross-checked the blood type, but still if there occurs any incompatibility, there should be all the informations mentioned that the reason for the incompatibility will be this. Okay, it should not be any random process. It should be very planned and plotted process. Okay, so this is clear to you guys. Now moving on the next point. Yeah, so and with that, so these guidelines are provided. Okay, and this is for the first time India has released these guidelines for animal blood transfusion, and we are also in a direction forward to establish a national veterinary blood bank network. Okay, national veterinary blood bank network, which will have all the digital registries, real-time inventories, and an emergency helpline. Okay, wherever the animal will need blood or any such transfusion, they can contact on these helpline numbers so that they will get quick facilities or the emergency requirements. Okay, and the incorporation, and yeah, to aware all the upcoming veterinary research personnel or the persons who are going to graduate in this field, this specific training modules are also incorporated in their syllabus so that they will be aware about these procedures that they have to undergo and they have to perform in future. Okay, so this is all about this news. Now another important point, why it is needed, why there is a need to have this. Okay, now this can be a question in your mind now. Okay, why there is a need to have these guidelines. Okay, till now we are not having any guideline. Did we feel any failure or any such issues? Why we are working in this now? See, because we are focusing on integrated farming practices. Okay, we are observing that milk production should be enhanced, and we have a large livestock population in our country. If the livestock population that we are raising, that we are maintaining for the milk production and meat production, if they will have any zoonotic risk, and that is about to transfer from one animal to another animal, and that will not be treated properly, it can cause like health related issues to the large mass of animal on a larger scale. Okay, so that's why there's a need arises to have such guidelines so that the animal related health issues will be dealt on time. Okay, India's livestock and companion animal sectors, they are the largest and most diverse in the world. Okay, if we talk about the total livestock population in India, so it is around 537 million livestock. And other than that, we are having more than 125 million companion animals. So if we'll not take care of all these things on time, it can create it can create problems in amplified manner in future. So that's why the need arises to have these guidelines. Okay, and if we talk about this livestock sector, so this sector contribute 5.5% to the national gross domestic product, and over 30% to agricultural GDP. 30% to agricultural gross domestic product. And this sector is serving as a cornerstone for food security, rural livelihood, and public health. So that's why it is needed to have this procedure. Now, this news article is clear to everyone who are in the session. Please give me a thumbs up that this news is clear. Yeah. Do you have any doubt or any query related to this news, yeah, aspirants? Okay. And yeah, with this guideline, what we are mentioning basically that India is taking steps ahead in strengthening its veterinary sector, veterinary healthcare ecosystem by providing the clinical care, saving the animal lives, protecting the rural livelihood, and as well as advancing the cause of animal welfare worldwide, right? And it will be developed as an advisory and non-statutory framework. Document will remain dynamic. See, the guidelines related and the standard operating procedure, that is mentioned here for animal blood transfusion and blood bank. It is dynamic, like wherever needed, okay, by doing the consultancy or by consulting with the like individuals who are respective individuals, what we can do the changes in these guidelines. We can introduce the changes in the guidelines, okay, while ensuring the highest standard because our main focus is to have good standards of animal welfare, biosafety, and public confidence. Right? Clear? This things are clear to you? Now we have another important news to discuss here. See, why I mentioned these news because during that specific workshop, our Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, obviously, when he addressed the research workers there, during his address, he mentioned a lot of important points, okay, which we have to mention in our notebook because these points can be used to frame a good descriptive answer if we have related to our agriculture production in our examination. Okay, so that's why I decided to cover this particular news here, right? So Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, who is he is Shri Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji. He addresses 64th. Okay, this is the 64th All India Wheat and Barley Research Workers Workshop, where it was held in Gwalior this year. Okay, okay. So during that workshop, obviously, when our minister is about to see to what particular purpose the workshop is related with, it is to boost the confidence of the workers, research workers who are working in this direction, and as well as to appreciate their efforts, like how much efforts they are doing and what we are expecting from them in near future. Okay, whenever any minister address these kind of workshops, his main focus is to know about the achievements of the organization in the past few years, to appreciate the achievements or appreciate the work of the research workers, and to mention what we are expecting from them in the upcoming days. Clear? Now, so the minister highlighted that in the past 10 to 11 years, we observed that because of the advanced technologies, because of the new varieties produced by the research institutions, we had improved the wheat production, which has increased which has increased from 86.5 million tons to 117.5 million tons, which is nearly a rise of about 44%. Okay, so first point that he highlighted there that we, because of all this research work and procedures, we have observed a good leap in wheat production. First point. Second is although our achievements, our efforts are remarkable, but still we have not achieved the global average. So we need to do a lot of improvement. Okay, so in the first point, he mentioned that we had done a lot. In the second point, he mentioned that, okay, we had done a lot, but we need to improve more because we want to reach at per hectare productivity at par with the global average. Okay, we need to be in a balance or in a equal number with the per hectare productivity with the world. And another thing, another important point, yeah, he also mentioned that, yeah, as in the union budget for 2025 and 26, there was a specific mention that we want to become self-reliant in pulses production and oilseed production. We are doing very good in wheat production, in cereal crops production, but we need to do a lot of efforts, or we need to come forward with new strategies and new practices so that we will increase the productivity of pulses and oilseeds. Why? Why we want to increase the production of productive pulses and oilseeds? Because we are importing these crops from other countries. And if we will be self-reliant in pulses production and oilseed production, we don't need to depend upon other countries for the import of these. And we can save our economy, we can save that good amount of money from there. Okay. Another is he also underlined, yeah. So with this, see, when any minister address any specific conference or workshop, they have to mention the positive points and they what they are expecting from us in a such a manner that the mentioning will always encourage you, like the things that you are doing in the section, they are very good and you have to be like more effective. You have to do a lot of more effort without any discouragement. Okay, so he also underlined that medicinal value of traditional grains like barley, which requires greater promotion. So in one way, he mentioned about the wheat, that wheat production is quite high, but we need to focus on the pulses and also production as well. Another point he mentioned that we need to talk about the barley. Okay, barley need to be promoted. We need to work upon the let's promote the medicine value of the barley to the general public so that the farmers will work in this direction and for the barley promotion. Okay, another point that was mentioned was yeah, biofortified wheat. Do you know about what do you mean by biofortified wheat? See, basic specific procedures are followed for specific crops in which we are inculcating certain nutritional factors artificially in specific varieties of some crops. Okay, so now our minister has urged the scientists that now the need arises that we should have the biofortified wheat, so that by consuming the wheat we will be able to fulfill our nutritional requirements for the proteins, carbohydrates, and for the vitamins and minerals as well, and to work on preventing the harmful impact of the use of imbalanced fertilizer on the quality of soil. And most of the farmers are still, see, we are having the variable rate technology, but still this is not like approached to most of the farmers, basically the small and the marginal farmers. So there is a need to like have an awareness among the farmers about the imbalanced fertilizers if they are introducing the imbalanced fertilizers on their farmlands, because it is disturbing the quality of the soil, disturbing the quality of the soil of their agriculture land. Okay. Another point he emphasized was upon, yeah, this is also one of the important point. Like now we are having the modern technologies. So farmers should adopt these modern technologies. So when they will harvest their wheat crops, barley crops, the rice crop, the stubble, the stubble collected from there, that can be used for any secondary purposes. So he highlighted the importance of stubble management. Another point, counterfeit fertilizers and pesticides. So in the last current affairs session, we discussed about that government has issued strict action plans for all those dealers, for all those companies who are dealing in counterfeit fertilizers and pesticides, because the farmers will go to the market because they are not aware about, they are not so educated, they are not so aware about the technical terms. They will go to the market and ask for the fertilizers and the pesticides for their field. But the companies who are dealing in them, if they will provide them with counterfeit fertilizers and pesticides, what will happen? The farmer will spray the pesticides in their field, and it can cause the health related issues to the farmer, as well as the crop will also suffer and the soil of that area will also suffer. Okay, so government has issued strict action plans. If any company will be founded in this manner, its license will be confiscated. Okay, so that the company will not deal in this fertilizers and pesticides in future. Okay, so this was also emphasized. Another is, yeah, their license will be cancelled and strict actions will be taken against the offenders. Okay, and another thing, Minister also mentioned that, see, we are observing that with the passage of time, with the growing population, we are observing the total cultivable area is decreasing. So the need of that and the per capita land holding of the farmer is also reducing. So in this manner, the farmer have to focus on integrated farming practices so that he will be able to get good livelihood for his whole family, not from the agriculture practices only, but from the combined practices like the animal husbandry, like the beekeeping, okay, animal husbandry practices, beekeeping practices, fisheries practice, and the horticulture practices. Okay, so this is clear. This is clear to everyone there in the class. Another thing, and he also appealed to all the citizens, all the farmers who are related with agriculture practices. Yeah, that we need to use indigenous products in our daily life so that what will promote made in India, make in India products, right? So this is all about it. Now let's talk about another important news. A very good evening, Divesh, very good evening to you. Okay, so this news article is also very important. Now let's discuss about this news article. What is this revised national action plan and why it comes into the picture now? Okay, so there comes a revised national action plan rolled out to eradicate glanders. So what is glander? This can be a question in your exam. Okay, what is glanders? Like you will not be able to answer the question from the options if you haven't read about it, because you will think that it's a name of any animal, it's a name of any species, it's a name of any such other thing, but it's a disease. Okay, it's a disease. And government also steps up equine disease control measures. Okay, so this is a current very important news. Okay, so let's talk about it. So recently, the Ministry of Fish, the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy, that comes under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy, this department has issued a revised national action plan for on glanders. What is glander? It's a contagious and often fatal disease of equines. Equines Equines is a special class that includes the species of horses, mules, donkeys, and all. Okay. And this revised action plan, why there was a need arises to have this revised action plan to strengthen the surveillance, prevention, and control and eradication of the disease across the country so that this disease will not spread across the whole population of equines in the country. Okay, now let's talk about glanders. Okay, what is this? Yeah, horses and monkeys, horses and donkeys. Yeah, very good, multi. Now, let's talk about glanders. So, glander is a disease. It majorly affects the population of equines. Okay, primarily affects the population of equines like the horses, mules, and the donkeys. Even though it can affect other animals also, but majorly to the equines population, and it is caused by a bacteria. So it is a bacterial disease. It is a bacterial disease as it is currently in news, so it can be asked in exam. See, in our previous section, we talked about the disease like rinderpest also. Okay, so the disease related to animal or our plants or agriculture crop, if it is in news and we are discussing it in our current affairs session, so you should have a special highlights on it in your notebook so that you will cover it during your exam. Okay, so this disease is caused by Burkholderia melli, which is the name of a bacteria. Right now, and this disease is notifiable under the Prevention and Control of Infectious and Contagious Disease in Animal Act. So when was this act enacted? So this act was enacted in the year 2009. So please note down the year of enactment of this act also. Now, let's talk about the key features of this revised action plan. So, what are the important features mentioned in this revised action plan? This is important. So, let's talk about the important features here. So, one feature is, yeah, initially the major revision. So, one of the major revision. This is one of the major point mentioned in this revised action plan, includes reducing the infected zone from 5 kilometer to 2 kilometer. Okay, initially the infecting zone around any animal was 5 kilometer. Now the infected zone is reduced to 2 kilometer, redefining the surveillance area as 2 to 10 kilometer instead of 5 to 25 kilometer. So initially the surveillance area where you are doing all the surveillance was 5 to 25 kilometer. Now this surveillance area is reduced to 2 to 2 to 10 kilometer only. Okay, and aligning the restrictions accordingly, and accordingly restrictions are aligned, like all the new action plan points should be followed, which will now apply only up to 10 kilometers only. So this will be, the surveillance area will be till 10 kilometers only, don't need to surveillance till the 25 kilometers. So this is a major revision. Another is enhanced surveillance and reporting. Okay, that there should be proper surveillance, there should be proper checking, and whatsoever the disease and whatsoever the issues are observed in the equines population, that should be mentioned. There should be a proper report related to it. So, mandatory testing of equines in endemic. Do you know what is the meaning of endemic? See, endemic populations are the populations which are restricted to a specific area only, restricted to a specific area only. Okay, and the high risk areas also. So there is a need to test. For example, there are specific areas where the equids population are majorly found. So there is a need to, it is mandatory to test the areas on regular basis. Okay, and the areas where the equids populations are restricted. So it is mandatory to test these areas or these high risk areas. They will be supported by improved laboratory diagnostics and regular field inspection. Okay, and whatsoever the issues and the problems will be noticed there, what does infected zone means here? Yeah, Avani, infected zone. See, basically, earlier we were considering like restriction of the animal to a specific area. Okay, restriction of an animal to a specific area. Okay, so earlier it was like 5 to 25 kilometer. Now it has restricted to 2 to 10 kilometers only. Okay, so these steps are basically taken to restrict the population in a specific area only so that it will not spread further. Okay, and enhance the surveillance and the reporting. See, these animals, it's not like the population of the equines, it is very near to the human population. They are restricted to specific areas only, so there is a need to take specific measures to like monitor the areas on regular basis, and wherever needed the specific diagnostics and regular field inspection should be done, right? Another important point, strengthened quarantine and movement control. And if in case it is found that these equines are suffering from any contagious disease, their movements should be restricted and they should be on a quarantine. What do you mean by quarantine? Any idea about the quarantine, aspirants? Please mention in the comment box. Yeah. I'm not getting your comment. See, quarantine basically whenever any new animal and any new species is introduced from any area to your area or to your locality, it should not be directly allowed to like reach all the population there. It should undergo a quarantine period first, where the proper health checkups will be performed over it. If the individual or the animal is suffering from any disease or having any health related issues, it will be properly diagnosed and treated. Then only the individual will be introduced with the rest of the population. And wherever needed, the movement of the animal or the individual should be restricted, okay, so that the disease will not spread to the rest of the population. And the certification protocol for equine fairs, yatras, and interstate transport. Okay, and if the equines population are to be a complete isolation, very good, Apni. Okay, and certification protocol for equine fair, yatras, and interstate transport should be done, right? Next is next points to mention are rapid response mechanism. So, as per the revised action plan, national action plan, uh, for the swift containment, isolation, and human handling of positive cases in coordination with an state animal husbandry department. Yeah, if in case it is found that these equines population are suffering from this deadly disease, okay, so there is a need to take swift containment. Like they should be have a rapid action. It's not like we'll wait for paperwork and then we'll start focusing on other. There should be a standard operating procedures for all the different actions to be taken when any population found to be infected by this, right? Yeah, very good, Divesh. Okay, capacity building and training. Oh, it is a need now. For example, I'm aware about certain thing and I am restricting the knowledge to myself only. I'm not telling anyone about the thing that I'm aware about. For example, I read about this national action plan, but I don't want to share the information to others. What will happen? The others will not get the required information at the required time. And what will happen when they will not be aware about anything? How will we deal with the situation at the time of need? Okay, so similarly, there's a need to have a capacity building and training. All the veterinarians, all the para-veterinarians and the field staff should be trained in this. If they found any equines is suffering from glanders disease, they should know the procedure to recognize it. And when it will be recognized, the proper reporting should be done and biosafety measures should be taken so it will not spread to further animals. And public should be aware about it. There should be a stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement include all the individuals, all the general public should be aware about it and they should be included. They should be included in all the procedures. Okay. Other stakeholders to ensure cooperation in surveillance and disease reporting. And whenever there will be any case found related to the equines suffering from this disease, they need to report it to the specific board immediately. So specific measures will be taken to prevent its further spreading. Okay. And another is research in laboratory. So here is a name, that's why it is very important. Here's a name of a research institute. As in your syllabus, it is mentioned that you have to know the names, you have to cover the important institutions also. So please mention where is National Research Center for Equines located? It is in Hisar. Okay, all the advanced diagnostics and epidemiological studies are done there, right? So this is all about this report. Now we have another important news to cover. Another important news is related with import duty exemption on cotton extended till 31st December 2025. This is a news of 28th of August and this is important news. Okay, import duty exemption. So like import free or cotton. Okay, so it is extended till 31st of December 2025. We'll talk about like what is the cotton production till now and who dis. Okay, let me know who decide the MSP for cotton. We discussed in a specific session where we cover about the MSP and there I told you about the different committees and the commissions related with deciding the MSP for different agriculture commodities. Okay, you have to tell uh, MSP for cotton is decided by. You want option? I don't think you need option because I told you about this before also. And aspirants, yeah, you can connect with me. Okay, you can connect with me on my Telegram as well. Right? No idea. So cotton MSP is decided by Cotton Corporation of India. Recently, we had an exam of Cotton Corporation of India also. Okay. So why it is needed? See, India is the second largest employment provider in the textile industry. Okay, so India's textile industry is huge. Okay, it is considered as the second largest employment provider in the country. So if there will be disturbance in the textile sector, it can disturb the whole stability of the nation. Okay, so this requires stable access to high quality cotton. Okay, if textile industry will not get the high quality cotton on the right time, what will happen? The whole scenario will be disturbed. So that's why import duty exemption on cotton is extended till 31st of December 2025. Okay, so in view of the persistent demand supply gap is occurring. Okay, we are having a huge demand for the high quality cotton, but we are not having a supply for it. So we observe that there is a persistent demand supply gap. Okay, so that's why government has extended the import duty exemption on cotton until 31st December 2025. And this decision notified by the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom is expected to stabilize the decision notified. So this decision is taken by and notified by Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom is expected to. So why this decision is taken? Why there is a need arises to take this kind of decision to stabilize the input cost. Okay, so whatsoever is the input cost for the cotton, for the high quality cotton, to stabilize it across the textile value chain, including the yarn, fabric, garments, and made ups, providing relief to manufacturers. So the manufacturers will be at relief. Okay, whosoever are receiving the raw cotton and other things, and consumers will be at relief. Then the input cost will be stabilized, the manufacturers will be at relief, and similarly the consumer will be at relief because there will be no high fluctuation in the prices. Okay, now in this direction, why this intervention? So why this why the need arises for this intervention? So this strategic intervention ensures that, why this intervention occurred? To ensure that the textile sector remains globally competitive because our textile industry is the second largest employment provider in the country, and our high quality cottons are getting a good market value. We want to be at the global competitive range all the time. So that's why this intervention occurred while safeguarding the interest of domestic cotton farmers also. And with it's not like we are thinking about the global scale only, and it is also to safeguard the interest of the domestic cotton farmers also, because most imports cater to specialized industrial requirements or brand linked export contracts, do not replace domestic cotton. Okay, it's not that we are importing it and we are exploiting. We are not considering the farmers, we are not considering the domestic cotton farmer. See, the domestic cotton farmers, they are like we are even though we are working in the direction like we want to increase the productivity of cotton, we there's a specific national mission for cotton, it will for the improvement or for the increase in the cotton productivity. But as per the scenario now, the scenario is we are having the domestic cotton, but that is not sufficient enough to meet the brand linked export contracts. So for that we need a good import of cotton. Okay, so that the demand supply gap will not extend or will not stretch further, right? And affordable high quality cotton strengthen India's position in export market. Okay, and if this graph will disturb, what will happen, will not be able to supply this affordable high quality cotton to the global market, and that's how our trade will be fluctuated, reviving orders for small and medium enterprises as well as export oriented units. Okay, next important point is now the textile apparel value chain employees. So how, if you talk about this, how it is providing employment to most of the people, like how much people are involved in this specific sector. So they, this textile apparel value chain, it includes it employs nearly 45 million people, and stable cotton supply is very important because it prevents the job losses and it encourages the industry growth. So if the intake and the outtake, the raw intake and the outtake will occur properly, what will happen? Industry growth will be encouraged, and as well as the job losses will be prevented. So consistent raw material supply extended to spur the production of higher value fabrics in the garment, supporting the government's Make in India and domestic manufacturing goals. Clear? This thing is clear to everyone? And now the question, yeah, farmers' interest, the farmers who are involved in cotton production, the interests are also safeguarded. Like it's not like we are not considering them. See, farmers are receiving the minimum support price for the cotton, for the raw cotton that they are producing, and this minimum support price is decided by the Cotton Corporation of India, that ensures that farmer, at least they should receive 50% above the total cost of production, like they should get 1.5%, 1.5 times the total. Okay, the amount that they had invested in the input taken and the for the cost production, they should get at least 50% above the cost of production. Okay, this is the MSP. Now that's how the MSP is decided. And this imported cotton often caters to specialized. So it's not like this imported cotton will be supplied to all the for the all the cotton fabrics and other things. No, it is just for specialized industrial requirements and does not substitute domestic. Domestic cotton have their own we what we call domestic cotton have its own I'm not getting an exact word now. Domestic cotton is having its own audience. It can be a good word here. Okay, and this cotton which we are importing, it is just to fulfill the input requirement or the raw cotton requirement of specialized industries only, so that we will provide affordable and high quality cotton in the global market. We can export it so that we can earn from there. Okay, and domestic cotton have its own audience. Okay, so the things should be clear in your mind. Like we are talking about import, we are, it's not, doesn't mean that we are discouraging the farmers who are involved in cotton production. It doesn't mean that. Okay, so most import occur during lean period. So when like we are not in the cotton growing season, so during that time only the cotton basically it is imported, and when domestic stocks are insufficient, which minimizes competition with peak domestic procurement period. Okay, so that time only we'll talk about like there's a need to have import to cotton from the other countries because we are in the lean period. This time we are not getting the cotton and our domestic stock is also not sufficient. So that time we'll talk about it. And government monitors cotton prices closely and retain the flexibility to impose safeguard and as when needed. Okay, and government is also always taking specific measures, so the farmers who are dealing in it, the interest will be safeguarded. Okay, and like they will get the proper remuneration or the minimum support prices for the cotton they are growing. Okay, now cotton textile export accounted for approximately, so we are exporting the cotton, the textile that is exported, basically it accounts for 33% of India's total textile and apparel export during April to October 2024-25, valued at US dollar 7.08 billion, making it the second largest contributor after ready-made garments. Okay, so ready-made garments at the first position, cotton textile export is at the second position, and that's how they're contributing at the global level and in the India's textile sector also. And with 95% of domestic cotton consumed by the textile industry, the duty exemption is expected to indirectly benefit farmers as Global competitiveness enables mills to pay better prices to the cotton farmers. Okay, see, if the farmers, if the mills or the that textile industries, okay, they will have a raw cotton available to them, okay, and they will process it and sell it to the global markets, okay, they will get good prices for that. So when they will always be in a condition of in a good market condition, they will be able to pay better prices to the cotton farmers also, okay. So that's why these steps are very important, and this is from that 11% import duty. Okay, now it is exempted to all varieties of cotton. So initially the import duty was 11% and now it is exempted up to 31st December 2025, right? And that's all about today's important news articles. Like today's session is over now. And before ending the session, aspirants, this is a batch which is available for you on the application of Oliveboard. You can be the part of this batch and start your preparations with us. And yeah, and this is RBI Grade B 2025 preparation kit. You can have this also if you're preparing for RBI Grade B examination. And you can connect with me on my Telegram if you're having any doubt and queries. And you can install the application of Oliveboard so that you can have the PDFs of YouTube classes. And there's so many batches and other things available for your better preparations on the application of Oliveboard. Okay. So for now, all the very best. Take care and bye-bye.